We're here in Geneva leading a delegation of U.S. officials to the UN Global Platform on Disaster Risk Reduction. It's a biennial meeting of UN officials, U.S. officials, and officials from virtually every country in the world talking about how to reduce the consequences of future disasters. We have some of the top scientists in the U.S. government with us here today, from State Department, USAID, NOAA, USGS, and many other agencies that have a vested interest in disaster risk reduction. So the Sendai Framework is a document that all of these nations have agreed to focus on disaster risk reduction over the next 15 years. It was signed in 2015, and the U.S. is on board with the principles of the Sendai Framework, and in fact the U.S. government has adopted many of those principles in many of the ways that we do disaster risk reduction. So we're here sharing some of the best practices from the U.S. government with our international stakeholders. We've learned a lot of lessons, and we think that many of those insights would benefit the international community. Likewise, we're also learning a lot from other countries and how they apply some of the lessons from many of the very significant disasters they've seen over the last few years. So a top priority at FEMA is to build a culture of preparedness. In fact, it's goal number 1 in our strategic plan. To build a culture of preparedness, it requires a whole-of-community approach, and as we're seeing here in Geneva, it requires countries working together to make sure that we can all focus on reducing disaster consequences. I think we all agree that making investments now to reduce future disaster consequences makes sense. In the U.S., we're very dedicated to that by investing in mitigation, for example, and we see a lot of that around the world as well. Other countries investing in mitigation that strengthens infrastructure, strengthens communities to make sure that we can reduce those future disaster consequences.